Yo, what is going on, people? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Clueless Yanks podcast. It's your boy, Logan.
What's going on, y'all? It's Jake.
What's up, guys? It's Sling, and I'm back.
The full house is back. We had a couple weeks, just me and Sling, and then just me and Jake last week.
Yes.
But we got the three of us. The three Clueless Yanks are back on the pod this week, and hey, we got some stuff to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got some things to break down. But before we get into it, how y'all boys feeling? How's y'all's weekends go?
Boring as fuck.
Yeah, you still been sick too, right?
I've been popping these motherfucking
Molly?
chloroseptic max. These are like bomb as fuck if you have a sore throat. I know this is really exciting, but I'll just tell you these things are 15 milligrams.
No, they ain't sponsoring us. Don't give them any clout. Don't give them any
I'll
clout.
give them clout. Look, they gave me a thing. Save $1 right now on chloroseptic.
Hey, Chloroseptic, sponsor this podcast.
Shout out CVS. Fast acting, pain relief, max numbing, shit busting. And it's good. It tastes like wild berries. But that's what I've been doing all weekend. I'm still getting over this strep. So, yeah.
What'd you get into?
This weekend? Watched Chelsea play a little bit of football, but we'll get into that later on in the pod. And then started back on the beach doing beach service. So that's cool. I've been wanting to get back into that. And that's basically it.
Yeah, I've just been finishing up this last semester of school. And,
that too.
And watching some footy over the weekend, and then watching the complete meltdown that's been happening on Twitter over the last 24 or 28 hours.
Fucking chaos.
You'd think the fucking sky was falling with.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Everybody knows what is going on. If you listen to this show, you have to be living under a rock to not know what's going on. I know fans or people that don't follow soccer or football at all, and they know what's going on as well. It is the European Super League. It was announced yesterday evening. Like I said, like 27 hours ago, it was announced. The reports started coming out yesterday morning and afternoon that it was going to be announced, but then the official announcement was made. So this European Super League has been officially formed. They said they're going to start it as soon as possible. It's looking like that means next season. The original reports were, it's going to start in 23-24. Now it looks like it's going to start in August. So it's coming up. There is just a lot of there's a lot of chaos and conflict involved with it, and I've seen a lot of people get outraged over it. I just want to go ahead and break it down for you. Even if you've heard of it, you might not know like exactly what it entails, but it's going to be 15 of Europe's biggest clubs. They will be the 15 founding fathers, the founding clubs of that league, and they will be joined each season with 5 other clubs that can work their way into that league. I'm guessing probably from winning leagues, and then they get to play into it. So in total, it's going to be 20 teams. You have the 15 founding clubs, which are basically guaranteed every single season to be in it. There's no qualification. It's just they're in it every single season. They can finish last. They'll be in it next season. They can get relegated from the league. They'll be in it next season. So that's just how that works. Not too sure how I feel about that. Not too sure how anyone feels about that. But then you have the 5 extra teams on top of that. So it's going to be 2 groups of 10. They'll be playing home and away against each team in their group, so 18 games in total. And then the top 3 teams from each group, so it comes out to 6 total teams, they move on to the quarterfinals. And the 4th and 5th place team in each group play in a playoff to figure out who's going to be that 4th team from each group that moves on to the quarterfinals as well. And then obviously it's home and away legs. I'm kind of working like a normal knockout competition in that regard. But right now we have 12 teams. There's supposed to be 15 founding clubs. They haven't announced the other 3 yet, but there's 12. It is the Big 6 from England, the Big 6 that we cover, Manchester City, Manchester United, the 2 teams in Manchester, the three big clubs from London, or the 2.5 big clubs from London, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Spurs, and then Liverpool are also in it. And then not Barcelona. In Spain, we have Barcelona in it, as well as the 2 big clubs from Madrid, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid. And then in Italy, it is Juventus, AC Milan, and Inter Milan. Now, there's a couple of names that you're kind of surprised aren't in it. Bayern Munich, obviously a massive club. It's a little surprising they're not in it. There's talks maybe they could be joining here soon. but we don't really know who the other three teams are going to be. The likes of PSG, they're not in it as well. Borussia Dortmund. I know that Porto's been thrown around, the massive club from Portuguese league. Obviously, they're not from a big five league, but they're still a huge club, a worldwide club. So there's talks about them, as well as I think RB Leipzig was mentioned as well. And then I'm not sure, but they're going to fill the other three spots here soon. And there's been a lot of takes, a lot of opinions on it. I have lots of opinions as well. But first, what do y'all think of it? What is on paper right now? What are your opinions on the Super League?
So when it initially popped up, and I kind of had to read into it a little bit, how they were saying, well, for one, let's just start with kind of what would be happening in the near future is Real Madrid, Chelsea, which I would be very upset about, for obvious reasons, and
Man City.
Man City would be kicked out of the Champions League, which means that, the winner would just be PSG by default.
They were saying, though, that they were thinking about, they would probably, if that was going to happen, they were likely just going to replace them with those teams from the last round. Dortmund, Porto, and Bayern would just be put back into the competition. But still, I still don't like that.
That's stupid. Fucking garbage.
Because it's
that's just saltiness from.
Yeah. So I wouldn't like that right off the bat. So that kind of turned me off a little bit from the whole Super League thing. And then the thing that really got me, though, is because we all know how much we support our national team, how involved we are, the fact that we have so much of our podcast dedicated to it. And the future of our national team.
It's looked as bright as ever.
We're literally probably in our golden generation, I would say right now.
Or go ahead and say what you're about to say, and then I have a take on that as well. But
when it first came out, they basically said that the players that played for the teams that were going to be in the Super League would not be allowed to go and play for their international squads.
Mm-hmm.
And, us being the fans that we are, that is not cool at all. And if that was the case, and this was 100% that they wouldn't be able to support or play for their international team, especially in the World Cup, I would be 100% against this whole thing.
And what's funny about that is that 10 years ago, hell, even 5 years ago, it'd be not a problem to us. We don't have any players playing for those clubs, but now we do.
Yeah.
So we have 4, in fact. It's Zach Steffen, Christian Pulisic, Serginho Dest, and Weston McKennie.
Yep.
4 very key players.
Our literal best players.
And then there's talks about RB Leipzig. That's Tyler Adams. Borussia Dortmund. That's Gio Reyna.
Yep.
And then, it could be potentially 6 or 7 guys on those teams.
If they take those motherfuckers from us, we're done.
We're fucked.
We're so fucked in the World Cup.
Yeah. So, what's your take on it? How you feeling about it?
I'm a big fan of Barstool, so I was watching some of Pardon My Take and stuff, and I saw Troop's whole rant and everything.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is an over exaggeration. I feel like a lot of the nitpicky crap will get worked out. I definitely do agree about the American owner greed. I feel like they're trying to make it, just another business entity, just the NBA or the NFL or the MLB, all those big.
Which that's funny to me too, because people are saying, you're taking the sport away, you're making it become a business. With how heavily money has been involved in the last 15 years in European soccer, it's been a business since then anyways. When you look at teams like, Jake won't like this, but teams like Chelsea got by Roman Abramovich, and because of his money, they've turned into a really good club now. Same with Man City. Man City were nothing. They got bought by Sheikh Mansour from owns that Arab oil company, and now they're a big club and have great players. And so it's become a business in the last 15, 20 years anyways. It's just this is another big step towards that. And I know a lot of people are very upset about that.
Motherfuckers pay £100 million for a player's transfer, not even his salary, for his transfer. Of course, it's always been a business.
Exactly. I hate that argument.
I feel like a lot of the arguments about it are just super over exaggerated and super overplayed. It's still football, and I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a little over the top. A little over the top for me.
I will say though, going off of the whole turning it into the NFL type deal, I don't like how it's those the 12 teams that are already in.
Well, it'll be 15 once they find the other
15. I hate how it's like, they're just staying there no matter what.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's like if a team is not performing to what they should be in order to put up a fight in that league, then there should be a relegation, and then they should be replaced by teams that are, exceeding the standards in their leagues. I think that's a terrible idea, and it sounds like the NFL. If a team goes 0-16 and then they get the first pick,
there's almost incentive for you to go, like the way the NFL works for people that aren't familiar with it. If you don't make the playoffs in the NFL, normally that takes about 9 wins. There's 16 games in a season. Well, it'll be 17 in the future, but let's just say right now there's 16 games in a season. Normally it takes at least 9 wins, sometimes 10 wins, or even 11, as I saw with my Miami Dolphins going 10-6 this last season, not making the playoffs. But anyways, you need to win at least 9 games normally, unless you're in the NFC East and all the teams are just terrible. but most of the time, you need to win over half of your games if you want to make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, though, it's better to go 0-16 than go 8-8 and not make the playoffs, and that's because you get that number 1 overall draft pick who can be an organization changing, a team changing type of player. And so, like you said, the fact that there's no relegation in this, it is kind of similar to American sports, and it's just there's like no incentive, in my opinion, for those 15 clubs. Like if they're having a shit season, they're having a shit season. What's the point in really focusing on trying to turn it around? We're going to be in it next year anyways. Like theoretically, I don't think this will ever happen because there's so much money invested in this league. And these clubs now, these big clubs, are just going to become better and better just because, y'all saw how apparently each team is going to get $425 million, which is unreal. That's like 4 times the amount of money you get for playing in the Champions League. So that's crazy money. And because of that money, these teams are just going to get better and better. So I don't ever see a scenario where, like, I'm going to take Arsenal, for example, where like they were to get relegated from the Premier League, but because they're one of those founding clubs, they're still in it. I don't see that scenario happening, but technically I guess it could. Arsenal could get relegated next season and play in the championship in 2022 and 2023, and yet they're still playing in the Super League with all these other teams. That just doesn't make sense to me. I think that there should definitely be, like, if those 15 founding clubs, if 1 or 2 of them is in like the bottom 3 of the Super League, I think they should get relegated out and then have to earn their way back into it. So I don't agree with that too. So there's definitely some things I don't like about it right now as it stands. With all the implications and complications from it, I don't like it, because if this stands and you're not allowed to play in your domestic league, that's the Premier League now without the 6 biggest clubs in the country. I saw the report is that we would be relegated to the 5th tier of English football. That's a report, which that would be terrible. You already said the thing about international play. If they're banned from World Cups, they're banned from the Euros, they're banned from international play just in general. I hate that as well. But the reason I say I hate it right now is because I don't think this is going to happen. So that's why I'm kind of neutral on it. I have seen people acting like it's the end of the sport. I've seen videos made like I saw a video last night. It said, "Rest in peace, football, 1863 to 2021." Like the sport is just over. That's like such an overreaction.
That, we were watching earlier. It was like fucking Maradona and like Pele and Messi.
Yeah, it was like that 6-minute video. I know you're talking about.
Like emotional ass music, like all like dreary and shit, like someone who's fucking died. They even put a Maradona tribute at the end of the video. I was like, what the hell was the point of this?
Dude, I shit you not. I was laying in bed last night scrolling through my TikTok For You page, and I swear 7 out of every 10 videos
same here.
was people overreacting to...
Bro, the thing I hate, too, is that then you have the people in the comments that are just for clout and like if you're against the Super League.
And they have their profile picture that has the circle with the line through it.
It's so much meat writing. It's just...
It's like everyone's going to making a difference with that.
Yeah, everyone's going to follow the trend. That's the thing. You got to follow what's trendy, and we like to keep it real. I'm not necessarily up in arms about it. I'm not super upset. I'm not crazy for it. But bottom line for me, and like a more shorter, condensed view, is everybody just needs to calm the fuck down. Like everyone just needs to calm down. Stuff is going to get figured out. FIFA is not going to ban these players from playing international play. There's no way in hell that happens. There's not going to be a 2022 World Cup in Qatar without Messi, without Ronaldo, without some of these guys on these
teams.
Without
Pulisic.
Yeah, especially him.
Good Lord.
That's not going to happen, which is, it's incredible to me that FIFA is doing this with their history of corruption. especially with just this World Cup in Qatar. That was a corrupt World Cup. They took pocket money from the top 0.0001% billionaires in Qatar to put the World Cup in Qatar in the first place. And it's such a bad spot for it that we're playing it in November and December because the climate is too hot to play in the summer. So it's really just rich to me that they're upset about this. And then UEFA as well. They're okay with players getting called racial slurs on the pitch, and I'll just give them a slap on the wrist. We'll ban them for a few games. They don't get too upset about it. But then when this came out, they're 100 times more upset, and you want to know why? Because it hits their pockets. It hits their pockets hard, which I hate the hypocritical nonsense of that.
Because it's a business.
But for me, I think exactly, and I think everything will get worked out. I think one of two things is going to happen. This is going to go on. They're going to fill the other three teams that are going to become the founding clubs. And then obviously you have the five. I don't know what stipulations they're going to use for that each year with the new five that come in based off of how they do in their leagues. The Premier League is not going to ban these six clubs from playing. They will lose 80 to 90% of their revenue each year. They will lose millions, if not billions of dollars if they ban Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, and Liverpool from the league. It would be, from a business standpoint, it would be suicidal to cut those teams from the Premier League. It's not going to happen. And then, so if that's the case, I think everything will get worked out. I think there will be a compromise made, and we will still see these teams in the Premier League because what it is really, it's a replacement for the Champions League. It's not a replacement for the Premier League. It's not a replacement for La Liga. It's not a replacement for Serie A. It's a replacement for Champions League, and it's a hell of a lot of games. It's going to be a lot more games than Champions League. So I'm kind of wondering how that's going to work. And look, if you're a club that's not involved in it, I mean, I'd probably be pissed off too. We're fortunate enough that we're fans of the clubs that will be in it. And so, we have, I guess, that probably helps our opinion on it a little bit more, because it doesn't hit us right where it hurts. And, so I wonder what's going to happen like in the future. Like if a team if they're not challenging for the lead, so let's say we get to January next year and there's like three teams in the title race in the Premier League. Let's say it's Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. What about, and then United and Spurs and Arsenal are kind of below it. They have no shot at winning the title really. Do they just say screw it and just tank in the league and really just focus only on the Super League because maybe they're in like fifth or sixth place in their group at that time, knowing that they have to move up to be able to make the quarterfinals because there's no longer any incentive to play for a top four spot, to play for a top six spot because those teams are already, included in the Super League. So I wonder how that's going to work. I think it hurts the small clubs, but let's be realistic here. And everybody likes to overreact. The small clubs have been getting left behind in football for the last 15 to 20 years. Money has become such a huge thing. You see all these, it's the same teams over and over again spending 50 million, spending 60 million, spending 70, 80, 90, 100 million on players. It's the same teams over and over and over again that spend that kind of money. And it's going to be like, that's why there's big clubs, because those clubs consistently spend the most money and have the most success. So I think it's a lot of overreactions right now. And I think it'll get played out. A compromise will be made. Either that, or maybe UEFA and FIFA don't bend. Maybe that doesn't happen. And if they don't bend, then I can see this falling apart and just not happening in general. But the way it is right now, with the implications of like, oh, you can't play in your international, with your national team, you can't play in your leagues. That's not going to go through. There's no way in hell that actually stands. That'll come to a compromise. Either that or this Super League will fall apart, in my opinion.
Yeah, you want to know what I find funny about the Champions League, too, about how they're kind of like talking about how they're going to handle the whole situation, is that I've seen the two things where it's like they'll just name PSG the outright winner, and then I've also seen the thing where they're saying they'll bring back Bayern, Dortmund, and Porto, right? Yeah. The thing is, if they do that, I guarantee you those teams that they're bringing back, including PSG that's already in it, they're going to be three of the four teams that join the Super League.
So what I saw,
Dortmund,
that was
Bayern, absolutely.
Bayern for sure.
That was my thing too, but I did see though the president of the European Super League, Florentino Perez. The Real Madrid president, he's now the president of the Super League just overall. And he had a press conference like literally just a couple hours ago. And he actually said that Bayern and PSG weren't invited, which I feel like that's cap.
Stop
I just feel like they didn't want to join. And so here's the thing that I found out, because I've been doing research about it and reading up articles and, just videos, listening to people talk about it. Number one, German clubs, the reason they're not in it right now is because they can only be 49% owned by a person. Like, how Stan Kroenke owns Arsenal, Abramovich owns Chelsea, whatever. They can only be 49% owned by that certain stakeholder. The 51% has to be owned by the fans. So there has to be a fan vote for them to be able to join this. And obviously they haven't had anything like that. I don't know if it has to be I don't know if that means they only have to get 2% of the fan vote, or if the fans all have to decide, and that 51% is all just based on their majority decision. So that's why they haven't joined.
I feel like that'd actually be a pretty close vote if they only needed 2%.
Yeah, because it is like everything I see on social media is everybody just against it.
Yeah,
I mean, and then PSG, they're owned by the Qatar Airways, which is holding the World Cup, and obviously if these players aren't allowed to play in the World Cup, that looks terrible on them. If they're in the Super League and they have Neymar and Mbappe and they aren't allowed to go play in the World Cup that they're putting on in their country. So that's kind of like what I've kind of heard as the reason why they're not in it right now. But like y'all said, I fully do expect PSG and Bayern to be in it, and then probably like a Dortmund or a Porto or teams right there that would be in the UCL right now. It'd be hilarious for them to take those 3 teams out that have already agreed to it and then throw in those teams and then, or maybe not even throw them in, just give the title to PSG. And then like 3 months, PSG's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're joining that shit too. Yeah, thanks for the UCL, boys.
Yeah, that's why I feel like stop being fucking sour and just let the teams that are in it play.
That's the thing. I mean, UEFA is trying to take the high ground. It just that's the thing that pisses me off the most. UEFA and FIFA have such a history of corruption. And yet they want to take the moral high ground in this situation. And the only reason they want to is because it hits their pockets directly. And then people are backing them. They're like, oh yeah, UEFA and FIFA, they're spitting. And they're the same people that say, oh, fuck UEFA and fuck FIFA. But because they have the same opinion this time, y'all are fine with it. And the only reason they have that opinion, don't make it think that they're doing this because it's good for the game of football, and for the smaller clubs and the teams that won't be in the competition. They're not doing it because of that. They're doing it because this hurts their pockets. That's the only reason why they're doing it. And I hope people understand that.
Yeah, that, and I feel like people are just stuck in like tradition. They don't want anything new. It's like they like what they have. So.
And incoming, I can already tell like people listening to this, a bunch of stupid Americans talking about it.
Yeah.
So, apparently that makes
our fucking opinion. Clueless Yanks.
Yes, like, we fucking
because
that's our podcast.
Proving our name right. But hey, I'm interested in seeing how that develops. Like I said, I think everybody just needs to calm down, take it as it comes over the next couple weeks and months, and we'll see how it goes. If it's supposed to start in August, I'm sure they'll have a lot of these things solved and taken care of by then. And so I think we just wait and see what happens. Everybody's just kind of overreacting right now, and yeah, it just seems like a knee-jerk reaction. And it is something massive. It's something huge that has huge implications on the game. But not everything is set in stone and perfectly set up right now. I think they'll figure that out within the coming months. All right, so now let's get back into the Premier League. Maybe the last season that these teams will be in the Premier League. Like I said, no shot that actually
sky's falling. The whole league's going to fall apart. Everyone's going to die.
Yeah, football is just ruined. It's just dead now.
GG's, man.
All right, but let's move into the Big Six review from this past week. Had some big games in the Champions League, Europa League, big games in the league as well as the FA Cup.
Yes, sir.
And so let's start it off in the Champions League last Tuesday. Manchester City, they were able to pull it through against Dortmund. Dortmund actually scored early on in that game. Jude Bellingham, a really talented young prospect. England have so many good young players. We think we have some good young players in the U.S. England, they have like 5 times the amount,
and they have depth too. That's the thing. They have like people.
Their C team is good enough to
could play on our A team. Yeah, like, it's fucking wild.
Which is why we're getting some of their dual nationals like Yunus Musa, and then you have
they're like, I'm never fucking
rumors about Balogun, and there's that guy.
If you get Balogun, I'll be so
I think it's
happy.
not in Force.
I'm having that jersey.
Yeah, so I want an Arsenal player that is playing for the U.S.
Like,
I need that
jersey. He's a good striker.
Yeah. But anyways, they got through. They went down 1-0, like I said, but they were able to come back, score a couple goals, and make their way through to the next round. No surprise really there, in my opinion. I thought Dortmund would put up a fight, and they did. But City are just overall they're a better side. And they got the job done. They move into a semifinal. Pep kind of got over because with Man City in the Champions League, it's been his quarterfinals curse. He's just lost like every single quarterfinal in the Champions League while he's been at City. But he was able to get past that this year and got a big win, and now that sets them up next round where please let it happen where they play PSG. That would just be a freaking that'd be a crazy tie.
City needed that win.
Yeah,
they needed that one.
Oh God.
Yes.
Move into Chelsea. They didn't get the win in the game, but they got the win job done before that. They moved through to the semifinals as well. Yeah, I mean,
sir.
Y'all got it done, I guess.
Hey, I would just like to point it out that just know, because Mexicans about to be in the mud again, that if Tecatito didn't give up that dumbass...
True, it would have went to extra time.
Yeah, it goes into extra time. Who knows? Who knows what happens?
Also, in that first half, Tecatito was played through on goal, and he hit the fucking bitch out of the damn stadium.
Yeah.
So, what a performance by the kid.
That shit went in orbit.
But he's apparently the best player in CONCACAF according to their fans.
Oh yeah.
And then Raul Jimenez is the best player when he's healthy. But it's someone on Mexico.
Jake, I got a question.
Yeah.
How y'all get that Mickey Mouse pull or draw and still lose the second leg?
Facts.
What the fuck, man?
Dude, that goal though by Porto,
that was disgusting.
That goal was dirty as hell. I
gotta get props.
That's a little unfortunate that he scores like the goal of his life and it just means nothing in the end.
Yeah.
But
it's like, dude, that was sick. We're still getting knocked out. So that's cool. Yeah, no, dude. Nothing really happened in that game. There were
y'all were out to do a job
on target.
Yeah, y'all were out to do a job and you did it. You did enough. That's all you can ask for. I mean, you can't. If you would have said before the game, "Hey, you're going to lose 1-0, but go through," I'm sure they'd all take it. Yeah. And then that game set up the matchup between Chelsea and City over the weekend.
Yes, sir.
And what was another big result for Tuchel's Blue Army?
Yeah, dude. Honestly, even though if you look at the stats, you would think, Man City has more shots and they had more possession, but I'm telling you that it didn't seem like that in the game.
They weren't blatant chances. Like clear-cut chances.
Yeah, I felt like we dominated that game well. We had a lot better chances. We hit better on the counter. Our defense that game was solid. I thought they put in a great showing. Once again, the three at the back with Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, and Zuma. I thought that was a great trio. And then you have Reece James and Chilwell on the wingbacks. I think that defense right there is it's pretty fucking good. And our one goal was our boy Hakeem Ziyech, who I think needed that one as well because he's gotten a few goals, but he is still. I feel like he hasn't put it all together yet. But finally, him and Timo had actually two connections in that game. It should have really been 2-0 after the 55th minute, but early they had a connection that was called offsides, so that goal was taken away. It looked really like one of the same play almost, but that one got taken away, but then they got it right back in the 55th minute. Timo whipped the ball into Ziyech. It was a little behind him, but he dragged his foot back and put it away. Zach Steffen, nowhere to be found in the net. That was
that's
weird positioning for him, but we'll take it as a Chelsea fan.
He was just kind of like in no man's land.
I can understand kind of what he was trying to do. I guess pressure the ball and maybe cut off
No, I think what he thought was going to happen because it's what Ederson does better than anybody else on the any other goalie on the planet. He's that sweeper keeper where he comes out and through balls are played behind the defense and he comes out and clears it because the forwards are behind your back line. But I mean, there was no chance he was going to get to that through ball, and then he was like, "Oh shit!" and just kind of caught in no man's land and just made it really easy. I mean, Ziyech is shooting at an open net. If Steffen is there, I mean, it wasn't like a great finish or anything.
Yeah,
he probably saves
all he had
it.
to do was put it on.
Which then I saw U.S. men's national team fans overreacting like fuck. They're like, "Oh, I don't think he's our. This is why I don't think he's our number one keeper, and he doesn't get consistent starts."
Right after that,
makes a really good save.
Yeah, he had an insane save.
It's the first mistake he's made for Manchester City, and people are making the argument like, "Oh, why is our starting goalkeeper a backup?" I mean, I don't get that. Like, Claudio Bravo was a starting goalkeeper for Chile in their golden generation the past 6 or 7 years. He's been a backup his whole career at Barcelona, at Manchester City, and so I don't understand why that's a thing. Why we feel so entitled, especially the United States. Now, granted, that has probably been our historically best position, goalkeeper. But I don't know why we feel so entitled. The dude's backing up a top 5 goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah, literally one of the best.
And yes, he makes a mistake. Every single goalkeeper makes a mistake. I guess Alisson's shit because he's made a few mistakes for Liverpool. Obviously, Brazil shouldn't be starting him now because he's made mistakes. So I love the overreaction from our U.S. men's national team fans. That was brilliant. And unfortunately for Stefan, it's going to be there's going to get overreactions like that just because of the game that he did it in. The FA Cup semifinal and the implications that it had, unfortunately.
And then also I wanted to hit on that run from Pulisic later on in the game. Ended up beating 2 defenders in the box, dribbled around both of them, heading to the right of the goal, and then puts it away in the back left corner. But unfortunately, another offsides goal.
Nice goal.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful.
Even though it doesn't count, you can kind of tell just him doing stuff like that kind of just plays onto how confident he's been playing lately, and we love to see it.
And he's literally just looked in form the past few matches. I love seeing it. It's good to see him perform how we've seen him perform before, and then not have injuries holding him back. But yeah, no, 1-0 win. Shout out my boy Donnie. He's a Man City fan. He was a little bit salty about that result.
Yeah, big win over Manchester City's B squad. Big win. They made 8 changes from their Champions League game. I just want to let you know. It kind of was their B team, if we're being real. And then y'all injured De Bruyne on purpose, so that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, you guys are really fucking scumbags.
For real.
Hey, maybe get in the weight room, kiddo.
Maybe read a book on ethics.
Yeah, for real. Good one, Slade. All right, anyways, let's move on from that. Let's move into our last game from the Champions League that week. It was Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Unfortunately for them, no Anfield Miracle Part 2. Real Madrid, kind of like Chelsea, although they didn't lose the game.
Shut the fuck up.
But they came to do a job. They got the 0-0 result. I thought Liverpool were actually, because I watched a good bit of that game, they were really good in the first half, but just couldn't score. And the second half of the game kind of just dragged out, and they weren't really able to do anything. And so, yeah, Real Madrid move on, Liverpool crash out, and it's really just all on the Premier League now to finish top 4. Well, I say that, but now what's the fucking point if they're just joining the Super League?
Yeah.
It's there's nothing to play for anymore anyways, but we'll act like there is something to play for. And so now their main focus is only on the Premier League. And then after results at the weekend, West Ham, a shock loss to Newcastle. Liverpool today, they played earlier today against Leeds United, and they had a chance to move into the top 4 off of goal differential. But in the 86th or 87th minute, they blew a 1-0 lead to Leeds. And, very – very poor result for Liverpool in that game. Leeds fully deserved it. They were really good in the second half, and Liverpool really didn't take their chances to build on that 1-0 lead.
Shirts that Leeds had on before pregame?
Yeah.
Pussy.
Earn it. I mean, they should be happy. They'll be in the Champions League if this fucking happens. They're literally going to be that 4th team in the Champions League because of the top 6 or the big 6 moving in to the Super League because they're sitting 10th right now. So obviously they'd be that 4th spot in the Champions League. They should be thankful. Anyways, but now Liverpool, they dropped 2 big drop points there. They're now still behind 2 points behind West Ham. They're a point behind Chelsea, I believe, a point or 2 behind Chelsea, and Chelsea has a game in hand. Obviously, they didn't play a Premier League game over the weekend because of the FA Cup. So Liverpool are kind of, they're still in it, but it's looking a little rough now for them, finishing top 4. But yeah, like I already just said, it's not really the end of the world now because if the Super League goes through, top 4 doesn't mean anything for these big 6 clubs anyways. Moving on to the Europa League. We'll start with a little review from Manchester United. They got the job done in the first leg, and just to make sure they got the job done again in the second leg versus Granada. Pretty straightforward tie for them. Granada's not a very good team. They're probably the weakest team left in the Europa League. A pair of 2-0 wins from United over Granada in that tie. And then they followed it up at the weekend with a win versus Burnley, 3-1. Once again, it was 1-1 in the 86th minute. And what happens? They get a deflected goal to fucking give them the lead because that's just what happens this entire season for United. Maybe the luckiest football team I've ever seen in my life. That is European football. I've seen some very lucky American football teams. But anyways, they get a lucky goal there, a deflection off of a Greenwood shot. And then they scored again in the 93rd or 94th minute off of a counter because Burnley were pushing numbers forward. Nice goal on the counter. I thought Rashford. I watched that game. I thought Rashford was really good. Bruno Fernandes actually did some things besides just scoring penalties. Yes, so that was kind of cool to see. And then Greenwood did get his brace, albeit deflected. Help from a deflection to get his second, but a good performance from him as well as United. Just keep winning. I mean, just keep the momentum going. They're obviously in the Europa League right now. Let's see if UEFA removes them like they're supposedly going to remove UCL teams. Well, there's a chance of it happening. But you got to just keep the momentum going. I mean, they're going to put the pressure as much as they can on City. They're still technically in it. I think that moves them
8 points back.
Yeah, dude. But City do have a game in hand. So I mean, they're kind of still in it. So I mean, all they can do is just keep winning in the league and then hope that City drop points and see where it goes from there. Let's move on to the other team from the Premier League that was in the Europa League this week. Arsenal versus Slavia Prague. It was a big win. It was we kicked racism out of Europe because UEFA couldn't do it themselves. So we just we went ahead and
FIFA
did it for them.
Do it with their
4-0 win.
No Room for Racism campaign on Ultimate Team. Yeah. Arsenal had to go in to Slavia Prague and beat the fucking shit out of some motherfuckers. I mean, that's just what happened.
That 10-minute spell was some of the best football I've seen us play in a very long time. Because it also had a goal ruled out for Smith Rowe's fucking toe being offside, which that seems to be a running theme. We'll get on to another goal being fucking ruled out for someone's toe being offside on the weekend. But anyways, we scored 4 goals. Obviously, the one got disallowed, but then you had the other goals from Pepe.
6 minutes.
Yeah, Pepe with a really well taken goal, and then we got the penalty. Lacazette doesn't miss. He's never missed a penalty at Arsenal in his career. I don't know why he's not just our permanent. When him and Aubameyang are in the team, I don't understand why Aubameyang takes penalties. I think Lacazette's by far the best penalty taker we have. And I think even looking back at his Lyon days, he only missed 1 or 2 penalties out of 30 plus for them. So he just has a really good record as a penalty taker. And then Saka, beautiful goal. The one goal that was ruled out obviously was his shot that was saved by the goalie onto the post, and then it went back to Smith Rowe for the tap in. And then this time, instead of going, he cut in, same play basically, cut in on his left foot, and the goalie was expecting to go far post again. He said, nah, G, and just pulled it right into the near post, froze the goalie. Beautiful goal. Yeah, sure. Then Lacazette in the second half. Second half was really just us kind of controlling the game, making sure nothing really crazy happened. And then late in the game, Lacazette got his double. Actually, a really nice goal, kind of a little drag back to the left, and then cleared the goalie on the near post. And a big 4-0 win. There's not been a lot of good from this season, but that was fun to watch.
Wasn't it all 4 of your goals were
black players? Makes it better.
When Pepe was running down.
Racism in the fucking
When Pepe was running down doing his little celebration, when he was fucking shushing after his goal like he always does. Oh, man. He was like, shut up, racism. Shut up.
That shit was cold. I don't know if y'all saw, but before the game, Slavia Prague, and they weren't doing it in a racist manner, but they were locking arms at near midfield. I guess they don't like kneeling. But anyway, I mean, it's whatever. But they were locking arms to show solidarity. But what Arsenal does, they always kneel and fucking lock at the halfway line. You're just staring at them. That was cold. I didn't catch that. But if I knew that, I was like, all right, we're winning this fucking game. This man needs business tonight. Right after that.
Cold. Yeah, that was nice. My striker rest of the season, by the way.
Yeah, I wish, but I mean, we'll get on to the weekend. But obviously, it looks like he probably pulled or tore his hamstring on the weekend, and the 70-something minute.
What work is that?
I think it was 68 or 69th minute. But he was just running down the field and just immediately pulled up and signaled to the bench. So that's not very good at all. Especially with the form he's been in the last few weeks. He's been really good for us. And then Aubameyang, obviously, he's been out, has malaria. That's kind of crazy. He got that on international duty for Gabon. Don't know how long he's going to be out for that. I mean, malaria that's a disease that can kill you if you're not taken care of right. I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll be fine, but I just don't really know the timetable of recovery for that. So if we have him and Lacazette now out, that's looking a little rough for the rest of the season.
Put your boy Nketiah up there.
Yeah, I mean, Nketiah did in the 97th minute. He did get the goal to save us a point against Fulham. Dude, that was so.
I
Oh
thought he was
my
doing his little fucking
god.
telephone celebration like he usually does. I
Oh
was like,
my
all right, that's
dude.
cool. That's cold. That's not you like a fucking telephone
Bro, but
emoji.
like,
And
why
this
are we all
motherfucker was
celebrating as
cupping
a
his
team?
ears. Like, y'all hear?
We're all celebrating as a team for a draw against Fulham at home. Like, what the fuck are y'all like? Why are you jumping for joy and shit like
We
that
had,
for a draw
we
against
had
Fulham?
18
Like, go get
shots.
the
We
damn
had 18
ball.
shots and we put fucking one in. Like,
Yeah, and to like their three, and then by the way, they just get the softest fucking penalty. There's just something about toes with Arsenal. I don't know if like people have like feet fetishes on the team or in the club or what, but we have
Bruce Saliba
Emil
has
Smith
some
Rowe's
weird
goal and
fetishes.
Emil Smith Rowe's goal was chalked off in the Europa League because his big toe was offside. Bukayo Saka was offside. It wasn't even his big toe; it was his toenail that was offside earlier in the game. That put Danny Ceballos had a header at the back post. But Saka earlier in the build-up had literally his toenail offside, and so it was ruled out. And then Gabriel stepped on Mario Lemina's toenail, and then he fell down like he had just been shot by a sniper rifle. And they got that penalty. And so yeah, I mean, it's nothing new. I'm just used to at this point. Arsenal literally never get any beneficial decisions whatsoever from referees and VAR. It's Craig Pawson again, by the way, the guy that sent David Luiz off for having a dude run into his knee. And so yeah, I fucking hate that douchebag.
Douchebag.
I don't understand how like Arsenal, they're such a massive club. Literally just tell the FA like we are not playing with him as our referee. He screws us over all the time. I don't understand why we continue to play. I would love to see our record with him as the official compared to just like anybody else as the official.
It's
I
gotta
guarantee
be
you like
up
the win
there.
rate is probably it's way lower with Pawson as the referee. But yeah, we get a 1-1 draw. Before that game, there was a little bit of a shot at that top 7 spot to get into the Europa League because obviously Spurs, which we're about to talk about, they dropped points earlier on the weekend, and so that kind of opened up that opportunity for us to jump into 7th by the end of the season. But I mean, drawing in that game, I mean, it's gonna be really tough. We're not out of it by any means. I think we're like 4 points off of 7th place, but Everton do have like a game in hand on us. Spurs, I think they have like a really easy run in for the rest of the season, so I don't see us moving in that 7th place spot. But hey, all is well because apparently we're just going to be in the Super League next season anyway. So I guess that placement spot doesn't really matter at all. But yeah, we move. I'm more worried about the injury situation now. Obviously, David Luiz looks like he'll be out for the rest of the season. Kieran Tierney would likely be coming back, like maybe for the final in the Europa League if we got there. Odegaard has been out for weeks. I still don't even really know what's wrong with him. He's just been out. Aubameyang has malaria. It looks like Lacazette either pulled or tore his hamstring. Hopefully it's just a pull because then maybe he could be back in a few weeks. If it's torn, obviously he's out for the rest of the season. So what looked like we were having like a very injury-free season for the most part, and over the last couple of weeks, they've just exploded, and so it's getting a little rough, I guess. Who would you like to see as our striker? Because I saw people talking about. I don't want to see Nketiah. I like how he scored. I appreciate that he scored, but that's literally the only thing the dude can do is he can poach goals. Which hey, that's good, but that's not good enough to play for Arsenal Football Club.
Right.
Balogun is really unproven, but I know who I want to play at that position.
Well,
with Lacazette and Aubameyang out.
I was gonna say this is like the pure perfect opportunity to put Martinelli into the squad and finally let him get some play time because all season long everybody has been at begging put Martinelli in the squad, give him some play time, let him get that experience because in the past he's had injury issues and he hasn't got to get a lot of real genuine experience in the club. And he's a big time youngster for us. I think he can play the striker position very well. He can play anywhere in the attack very well. Throw him up there right now with all this injury crap going on and give him a chance.
I agree. He's definitely for me our best option up there. We even saw it when Lacazette got hurt and Nketiah came on. Martinelli actually moved more central. It was almost 2 strikers. It was Nketiah and Martinelli. And Martinelli looked way more dangerous in that last 15, 20 minutes of the game than he looked the 70 minutes prior when he was playing on the wing. But I still think he can be effective on the wing. But I think long term, obviously he's only 19 years old, but I think long term striker probably is his position. And that's the report that Arteta is trying to groom him into a striker. I just think like his overall game is much better than Nketiah.
Yeah.
And then like Balogun, like I said, he's really unproven. Although he's like this great young prospect that we have, he hasn't really proven anything. So I'd be a lot more comfortable with Martinelli. He's good at holding up the plays. Although he's not like huge, like not like a huge like physical like specimen, but he's like very physical the way that he plays. He's strong, he's athletic, a powerful runner. And I just feel like, yeah, for me, I would 100%. My four would be, Pepe on the left, Saka on the right, Martinelli down the middle, and then, Smith Rowe or Odegaard in the 10. Hopefully, if Odegaard comes back healthy while we're waiting on Aubameyang to come back. And who knows? I mean, Aubameyang might be recovered from malaria by the time we play Everton on Friday. So who knows if that'll even be a problem. But if he's out, and then obviously Lacazette looks to be out at least for the near future, I would definitely like to see Martinelli start in that number 9 role.
We need to get a timeline on a malaria recovery because I've never heard of anyone getting malaria. That's
yeah, it's not normally something you see like sports players getting because normally they're like protected from that shit. And I know like people get malaria shots and all, which are supposed to prevent you from getting it, but there's obviously like the small chance you can still get it anyways. But let's move on to the last team we're going to review for the week, and that is Spurs. And it's not really more about their game. They drew 2-2 versus Everton. Really 2 gift wrap goals. Everton should have won that game 2-0. They literally just gift wrapped Kane 2 goals with like 2 mistakes. But it is what it is. They get the draw. But the big news surrounding Spurs, which would have been our intro to the pod this evening, we would have talked about this first. But because of how big the Super League talk has been, we had to cover that. But this is kind of flown under the radar. I'm sure a lot of people know, but like it hasn't been really getting talked about. But Jose Mourinho got sacked this morning from Spurs.
Sayonara, Jose.
Yeah, didn't work. The first club that he's managed in over 20 years that he didn't win a trophy at. It's just got to be Spurs. It's just got to be. Leave it to Spurs to break that record for him.
They brought him on to win trophies. Yeah,
I don't think anybody can win trophies for that club, man. It's
too far gone.
But I saw you were talking about it earlier. I don't know if it was Jake or Sling, but talking about how there's like the rumors that he got sacked because he came out and like talked against the Super League.
Yeah,
I don't know if those rumors are true. That'd be kind of funny if that is the case. But maybe it had something to do with that. But they've also been really bad this season. Spurs are a team that right now this is like. As funny as it sounds because they still just don't win trophies, but like this is their golden age right now with guys like Kane. I mean, Kane might be the best player that's ever played at Spurs. Like I don't know who their legends are because their legends are from the fucking like 1910s. But I mean, Kane is maybe the best player that's ever played at Spurs, and yet he might be leaving in the summer, because he's just tired of not fucking winning trophies. But this has been their window over the last 3, 4, 5 years for them to do something. They just haven't been able to do it. Jose Mourinho wasn't able to do it, and he obviously got sacked. And yeah, it looks like they're gonna have an interim manager for the rest of the season, and then I guess they'll hire someone going into next season. So we'll see how that develops. But Jose is out of Spurs. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I have like mixed opinions on Mourinho. Because he used to always beef with Arsene Wenger, and like I hated him for that because he'd like talk shit about Wenger all the time. And Josie is just kind of a dickhead, like when he's talking about your team. But when he's not talking about your team, he's fucking hilarious. Dude, he's hilarious. So I wonder where he will end up in the future. I'm sure he'll probably just end up back again at another big club, a club more than likely bigger than Spurs. He'll probably upgrade, just like Mauricio Pochettino has upgraded at PSG. So I'm sure Spurs are they're probably regretting sacking Poch. I don't know why the hell they did it in the first place. They had like one bad run of form with him, and they're like, oh yeah, out the door. Mourinho came in, it just got worse. And so yeah, we'll see how Spurs where they go from here. Sling, you want to give us our picks update for this month? We didn't do it last week since you weren't here, but
I certainly can and will. Let's get in.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure I missed a few games one week.
Yeah, you did a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Sling missed. I'm the only one that hasn't missed a game, which would be really sad if like I finished last, even though I hadn't missed any games.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not the case.
So
we still got a couple more weeks though.
So after missing a couple games this week, I kind of fell back and lost my lead here in our pick'em, which is tragic. Logan made up some ground and took advantage of my missed picks.
Yes, sir.
Jake made up some ground as well. He's now a couple points behind me. We all had a perfect result this week. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
and it's like the first time.
What's the score looking like?
The score update is Logan at 16. I'm at 14, and Jake is at 12.
Ooh, I got some ground to make.
It's a tough.
Still got some games to come up.
Tight little race.
See how it goes. We still got 2 more weeks in the month. Long month of fixtures.
Gotta get some score lines right.
Yep.
Gotta start getting some perfect scores.
Get up in that tight little race.
All right, time to take a quick break from the Big Six talk. Obviously, we've been here for a little while already because of the Super League talks. We'll try and run through this U.S. men's national team rundown. But yeah, let's get straight into it.
Yeah, we'll go and kick it off with an American making history over the weekend. Our boy Serginho Dest became the first American to ever win the Copa del Rey in Spain. He started for Barcelona in a 4-0 thrashing of Athletic Bilbao in the final on Saturday.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
First American. That's obviously really cool. The U.S. There's been some history of U.S. players playing in certain leagues in Europe, but like there's not the very deep history of them playing in La Liga. So he'll be the first to do a lot of things. I'm sure. I'm sure he'll win titles probably with Barcelona too. And so that's cool. Getting to celebrate with Lionel Messi. That's always pretty nice. That's a pretty cool little thing to do. Yeah, it's all right.
It's whatever. I mean, it's just two goats taking a picture together.
It's just Messi and a fan,
I really like that. That was cool.
No, it's Dest and a fan.
Oh shit!
You fucked that up, man. God damn it.
It's Dest and a fan. That's
Right.
Cut that shit out.
Edit
that out of the video.
But another American won a trophy over the weekend as well. Striker Jordan Saibachu started for Young Boys in a 3-0 victory that saw them secure the Swiss Super League title.
Hey, another American winning a trophy. Winning trophies over in Europe.
I mean, this is going to be a regular thing from now on. I just want y'all to know.
The boys are on top.
Yes, sir. Whoa, pause. Pause. Anyways, over in England, Anthony Robinson went 90 minutes for Fulham against Arsenal and put in a very strong performance. But a win was snatched away from Fulham at the death in a 1-1 result.
Yeah, obviously, as we just talked about. But
let's go.
Our guy, Eddie Nketiah, stealing the win away from Anthony. Anthony actually he played really, really well.
Yeah,
the announcer was even raving about him, how good of an outlet he was on that left side for Fulham all game, and he did a pretty decent job going up against Bukayo Saka. He did a good enough job against him to kind of at least limit him a little bit in the game. I thought it was a really good performance from him. I saw a lot of Fulham fans talking about it as well. But that draw, along with Newcastle winning, now they're looking really. It's looking rough. Burnley is now in there now. I think they're only 4 points behind Burnley, or 6 or something like that. Too. But Newcastle, I think, with that win, I'm not going to say Newcastle are safe, but Fulham's got a hell of a lot of ground to make up now, and they've really got to put in a really good run between now and the end of the season. Now I'd say they've probably got to win or get at least 10, 11, 12 points from 6 games, and that's not going to be very easy at all. But we're still holding out for it. Like we have said on this pod, we want Fulham to stay up. They have a little bit of American contingency, not just now, but they have a history of it. Clint Dempsey, Brian Bride, they played for Fulham too, so they've always been kind of a nice little secondary home for some of our men's national teamers. Yeah. And so hopefully they can make the great escape. But after this weekend, it's looking very, very bleak.
It sucks, man, because you wouldn't think that they'd be dropping points in that game either.
Yeah.
All right, in the Champions League, Christian Pulisic played a key role in helping Chelsea reach the semifinals. He was fouled 11 times in the game against Porto, the most by any player in the UCL since Messi versus Real Madrid all the way back in 2011.
Yeah, just two goats. Two goats, exactly.
Yeah, you literally have to foul them to stop them.
Just appreciate them while they're still playing the game, because when they're gone, the game will never be the same. Never. We talk about the Super League, but when Christian Pulisic retires, the sport will just never be the same.
Yeah, Cristiano who? More like Christian.
That's actually kind of crazy though, because I saw something like the most fouled player in the Champions League this year has been Neymar. He gets fouled 5.7 times a game, and then Pulisic just gets fouled 11 times. I don't know how the hell Porto finished that game with 11 men, to be honest, because the ref was just refusing to give out yellow cards Pulisic probably got fouled about 8 times that like should have been yellow cards. I think he only gave like 1 or 2.
It's because they hate Americans.
Yeah.
But yeah, he then followed that up with a cameo off the bench in Chelsea's win over City in the FA Cup semifinals. He had I said it before, but he had a fantastic late goal ruled out due to being slightly offsides.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate because it was a beautiful goal.
Yeah, it was.
2 defenders and then slotted it away past our boy Zach Steffen, but it's okay. We won't talk about that. But yeah,
American on American crime.
Yeah, in that FA Cup game versus City, Steffen started in between the posts for the citizens, but it would be a day for him to forget as he was caught in no man's land off his line for Chelsea.
Yeah,
goal that won the match.
Like we talked about already, but yeah, it's not Steffen's brightest moment for City, but it's whatever. It happens. Shit happens. I did see how Pep actually came out because they play Spurs this weekend in the Carabao Cup final, and he said Steffen's still going to be the goalie for that game, so that's good. Yes. I like that from Guardiola instilling some confidence in his players.
Yep. And then switching it over to our a Bundesliga man, Gio Reyna. His run in the UCL came to an end earlier in the week against Man City. A game in which he came off the bench and played about 25 minutes. However, on the bright side, he started over the weekend in the Bundesliga in a big 3-1 victory for Dortmund over Werder Bremen. And we all know we got our boy Josh Sargent. He came.
I gotta kind of like pause when you said that.
Yeah, I know. I literally can't say Josh.
I just say like Josh Sargent. Like I don't say Josh. I just say Joss because it just
sounds weird. Yeah. Josh Sharp.
Fuck. Josh Sharp.
He came off the bench in the second half. Gio scored an absolute screamer from about 20 yards out, and then also played a pivotal part in Dortmund's third goal.
Yeah, it seems like he's starting to kind of form or come back into form for Dortmund the last few weeks. He had a good performance last weekend. Sling kind of talked about that because he was ahead of the men's national team rundown last week. But he had a good performance last weekend, and then followed it up this weekend because he started off the season really, really well at Dortmund. Had some goals, had some assists early on in the season. Just kind of went through like a rut for like 15 games or so where he didn't do it. Like didn't really have like any statistical outputs, no goals, no assists. And yet he's getting back onto the goal sheet, onto the assist sheets the last couple of weeks, and that's kind of been the main gripe about Gio that I've seen with him in the U.S. men's national team uniform so far is the fact that his final ball sometimes isn't necessarily like what it should be. But hell, that goal is very, very nice.
Yeah, from the top of the box, and that shit was rising up into the top corner.
Yeah, if the net wasn't there, that might have left the stadium. Sure. But it probably would have killed somebody in the crowd if they were there. But
little 12-year-old would have got beamed in the face and decapitated.
That ball was hit very, very hard.
Yeah, he meant to do it. We're going to stay in Germany. 2 Americans faced off with Chris Richards putting in a massive performance to hold off Tyler Adams' RB Leipzig to a 0-0 draw. Chris did his parent club, Bayern, a big favor in that one, as it looks like the Bundesliga title is once again staying in Munich.
Surprise there. But yeah, I saw some like men's national team fans on Twitter that I follow raving about his performance, saying it was one of the best ones he's had for Hoffenheim. And obviously to hold a good attack like Leipzig to a draw, he must have had a really, really good performance. So good for him. I know Hoffenheim want to. It seems like they want to buy him on a permanent transfer, but at the same time, it looks like Bayern maybe isn't too interested in letting him go. So. That's always good. You got teams fighting over you. He must be doing something right.
Sure, next Boateng. Let's go.
Better.
Absolutely. But yeah, in the league below the Bundesliga, Julian Green was on the score sheet for Grutherfurth.
Yeah, something like that.
Grutherfurth. Over the weekend. Sounds like you have a lisp. Grutherfurth. But yeah, that happened over the weekend. That gets him to 9 goals and 3 assists this season for the club as they sit third in the second Bundesliga table and seek promotion.
Yeah, kind of
his name in a while, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He's kind of been like a lost name in the men's national team pool. Obviously, his biggest contribution was that goal in extra time against Belgium that kind of kept us in it back in 2014. Now we're in 2021, and he's he's still hanging around, not really getting called up. I would like to see him get called up to those international friendlies in Europe, especially when it's like the European based players. But hell, if he gets promoted back up into the Bundesliga with Gruther for however you pronounce that name. But if he gets promoted back into the Bundesliga with them and then keeps playing pretty well, I mean, you kind of have to call him into camps now. So he's doing all he can to try and get back into the national team picture.
Yep. We're gonna swap it over into Italy. Ryan Reynolds got his second consecutive start for Roma in what was a very mixed bag of a performance.
Yeah, I heard. I don't watch the Italian league, but I heard from people talking on the timeline, like on Twitter and everything, and I read an article about it. But he basically played pretty well in the first half, and then didn't play very well in the second half. I think he was actually involved in like a mistake that gave the other team a goal. So mixed bag, but hell, he's like 18, 19 years old, learning his trade. He'll get there eventually. He's got all like the physical tools and technical tools. He just kind of got to put it together.
Yeah, he'll get there. But yeah, staying in Italy, Weston McKennie went 77 minutes for Juventus as well, but Juve lost the game 1-0 and now sit in a very underwhelming fourth-place league position.
Yeah, the Andrea Pirlo experiment is not working out very well for Juventus. Yeah. It seems like Weston, too, I've seen him play and I've seen people talk about it as well, that it seems like he's just playing through an injury right now. He doesn't look his same explosive self. And so I wish Juve would just sit him.
I was about to say, they better fucking chill out.
We need him for the Nations League games here at the end of the season, and so I mean, look, y'all aren't going to win the league. You're out of the Champions League. Just let him have a bit of a rest between now and the end of the season.
Sit him for the future.
Yeah, he's going for the future, not for the now.
Exactly. And last but not least, we dip into the MLS.
Our first ever.
I was about to say we never do this. But yeah, we're going to go into the MLS to let the people know of a very exciting young prospect, Caden Clark. Clark is a 17-year-old attacking midfielder that plays for New York Red Bulls, and he scored an absolutely gorgeous volley over the weekend to open up the MLS season. He's a guy that certainly looks like he has a future with the U.S. men's national team and likely won't be in the MLS for too much longer.
Yeah, he kind of bursted onto the scene last season, at the end of last season for New York Red Bulls. Obviously very young, only 17 years old. And he had a couple just streamers. So that's the only goals he scores are just outside the box bangers or volleys. And he looks like a natural, a pretty good goal scorer, and looks really, really good. He doesn't look like I would be very surprised if he's still in the MLS next season. I think this will probably be his last season in the MLS, and he's definitely someone to look forward to for the future. All right, that wraps up our U.S. men's national team rundown for the week. About to get right back into the Big Six. Give our Big Six preview. But before we get into that, we got to get our Sling Speaks segment for this podcast. Sling, whenever you're ready, just take us away.
So, as we discussed earlier, the small club of Tottenham sacked their manager, Mourinho.
Gave him the sack.
Gave him his papers. Gave him the slip. Said, you're out of here. You're out of soccer. You're out of football. Take your staff and get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of London. You couldn't fucking make it in the Premier League, Jose. You couldn't get a fucking trophy with Spurs because no one can. I'm not going to blame you for that. I won't blame you for that. But you had a chance to be something.
It's kind of cold too. They cut him right before the Carabao Cup Final this next week. So that was his shot. But they're like, nah, fuck you. You're not even getting a chance.
He had a chance to be something great at Manchester United. But unfortunately, just like in La Liga, Pep can hang and you can't. This is his league, not yours. I'm just kidding. I think that's
like twerking for Man City,
Oh God.
Pep is just daddy to Jose. I think is what I'm getting at here.
Damn.
I think about the La Liga days when he was at Real and Pep was at Barcelona, prime Barcelona, by the way. And yeah, Pep just had his number ever since. And just like that, he couldn't hang in La Liga, and he can't hang here. So your ass is grass, and get the fuck out of town, Jose. You'll always be a little brother for Arsenal Football Club.
All right, I don't know how true that is because I'm pretty sure Mourinho's record against Arsenal is like really fucking good, but
Why would you
he lost the last one. He lost the last one. That's all
He
that
lost
matters.
the
last one? He lost the last one.
All right, let's get into the Big Six preview as we try to wrap up this podcast. Already over an hour long because of the whole Super League talk, but let's get our previews and our picks for this week as I try to hold on to my lead. Sling and Jake try to catch me. But we got some games. It's really just Premier League games and then Carabao Cup at the weekend. No European games this week as they will start back up next week. But starting us off, Chelsea tomorrow host Brighton in Hove Albion. Jake, how do you see that game going?
I mean, I see us winning that game. I don't see it being too much of a problem, even though Brighton is.
Bro, I sent that XG shit. Brighton is literally supposed to be like in the top 4 or the top 6 based off of expected goals.
Yeah.
Like their point differential between expected goals and what they've actually scored has lost them like 19 or 20 points this season. So that is terrible finishing.
I mean, if they were top 10 higher up in the table, I could see this being a better game. But I feel like their confidence is low. It's demoralizing being in the position that they're at with only a -5 goal differential.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're in 16th place, fighting to not get relegated, even with a -5 goal differential. That sucks. But I see us winning this game. I want to give Brighton one goal, but our defense has been playing so damn good recently. I'm going to say we win that game 2-0.
Sling, what you got?
I'm going to take one out of Jake's book and go, no, just kidding. I'll go 1-0.
Not so fast, my friend.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking as well.
I think Chelsea will win. Like you said, Brighton, just very unfortunate season at this point. I don't think Chelsea just puts it on them. I think it'd be like a nice close game, actually.
Yeah, I think Chelsea are just in a part of me wants to, because Brighton are the type of team that they're almost like Leeds. Like any day they can show up and actually, like, if they finish their dinner, they can play with just about anyone. But I think Chelsea are running high on confidence right now, and they're really fighting for that top 4 spot. And so they really need to win this game. And yeah, I think Chelsea will win. I'm going to say 1-0 as well.
Dope.
Next game is on Wednesday, I believe. Spurs, they host Southampton. The first game after sacking Jose Mourinho, interim manager in place. I think sometimes that gives you a nice little kick, to get a running start off hot with a new manager. It kind of gives like a little bit of an energy boost. And because of that, I think Spurs will probably take this one. I think it's going to be a pretty decent game. Southampton, while they haven't had like the greatest season, they have some decent players. But I'm going to give Spurs the edge 2-1.
Yeah, if this was start of the season, Southampton, I might be going Southampton here.
Southampton.
Yeah,
Southampton, as Wenyul says.
Yeah, no, I don't see Southampton beating Tottenham. I see, like you said, with Jose Mourinho now gone, I see them actually maybe performing a little bit better. I see them winning this game. I'm going to say...
Don't hurt yourself.
I'm trying to decide if I want to go 3-1 or 3-0.
We'll decide.
I'm going to go 3.
Flip a coin.
3-1.
All right.
Tottenham.
I'm going to go 2-0. Tottenham. Yeah, that's just, I don't know. I don't have a reason. Just Tottenham. 2-0.
Well, 2-0 is like your default scoreline, so that's probably the reason.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next game, Manchester City. They travel to Aston Villa during the midweek in a Premier League game. As United are a little bit like they're kind of in the rearview mirror. Not very close, but they're there.
Hey, objects and mirrors are closer than they appear. So know that.
So, anyways, City, they do need to probably, if they can get a couple of wins, that kind of almost solidifies their title. But and I think you probably will start here. I fancy them to likely win this game. I don't know the extent of De Bruyne's injury. It didn't look particularly good against Chelsea as he kind of hobbled off the field. But I don't think that really matters against Aston Villa. They'll just drop in. Oh, let's just play Foden instead of him, or we'll play Mahrez instead of him. They have their they're rich beyond belief when it comes to depth. And so I think that they'll win this game. I still don't know like what is happening at Villa with old Jackie Grealish. I don't know if he's back. I don't know if he's still playing or if he's playing now. Even if he is, I'd probably still give City the edge. But I know Villa have not been playing very well recently, and so I'm going to go for a 3-0 Manchester City win.
It's also the scoreline I'm going with for Man City.
Fuck it, let's make it 3 in a row. 3-0.
Yeah, that's not a good way to catch me. I'm just saying. We all just got the same score. I should just let y'all go first and just copy y'all's scores so I don't get caught. You're all right. Moving on to another Premier League matchup. Liverpool host Newcastle. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward for me. Liverpool, like Chelsea, they're fighting for a top 4 spots. Newcastle, they're fighting for survival, but they might have just about gotten there, or at least very, very close. I mean, they're not going to, just think that their job is done, but they've given themselves a little bit of breathing room. And with this being at Anfield as well, although with that being said, I mean, Liverpool have been terrible at Anfield for like the last couple of months, but I think they will get this win. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Liverpool W.
Wait, what did you say? I saw Liverpool. What scoreline did you have?
1-0.
1-0. I'm gonna go 2-0 Liverpool.
Liverpool just don't seem like they don't score a lot of goals, so I'd be very surprised if they scored 3.
Yeah, well, I'm going 2-0. So
I said 3, not 2. Jumping into another game from, this is actually on Friday, but Arsenal they host Everton, in which is kind of almost a nothing game now for Arsenal because I don't really think we have much shot at getting a European spot through the league, especially now if that doesn't even matter at all with the Super League. But Everton, they still are playing for something. Well, maybe they're now fighting for a Champions League spot. So I mean, something for them. It's at the Emirates. This is almost like very dependent on me. Like to me, it's dependent on whether or not Aubameyang is going to be able to play. Or I haven't heard anything about Lacazette. I know Mikel Arteta said it doesn't look good, but who knows? Maybe it's a freaking cramp. I doubt it, But if one of those two are playing, I think I would give Arsenal the win. But because I'm just not sure if they will be playing, and I would guess that they probably aren't, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for I think it's going to be an exciting draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
I don't like how y'all are riddled with injuries, and I also don't like how the past few times I've picked y'all to win, y'all have drawn. So that turns me off on picking y'all.
Arsenal, they can show up and play really good, or they can show up and fucking.
This shit is pissing me off.
They can show up and play really good and win 3-0, or they can show up and play really bad and lose 3-0. You never know what you're going to get with them.
If y'all didn't have the injury problem, honestly, I was thinking about picking y'all, but I'm actually going to go Everton here. And I'm going to go Everton. I'm going to go Everton 2-1.
Fucking bastard.
I knew that was going to be the exact scoreline, too.
You already had it written down.
Yeah. Are you going Everton 2-1 as well, Sling?
No. I'm going 2-1 Arsenal.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Go fuck yourself.
You know what? Sling, fix my fucking score, please.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm also going I was about to say, I was surprised.
I'm also going 2-1. I'm not picking a bitch-ass draw. Fuck do I think this is?
Let's go.
Give me that W.
Motherfucker. Let's go.
Because if we win and I picked a draw, I'm going to feel like a douchebag. I can't do that. A fucking douchebag.
A douchebag.
All right, move on to another team from the great city of London. They are playing another team as well from the great city of London. A big game, actually, over the weekend. Probably the biggest game in the Premier League this week. It is Chelsea traveling to the London Stadium to play West Ham United.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I like West Ham by at least 2 or 3.
I mean, that's kind of retarded, but okay. So I'm going to pick Chelsea winning this game. Shocker, right? I'm going to say that we win this game. I'm going to say 1-0. I'm going to see our defense. No. I take that back. Because I remember they've got fucking Lingardinho on their team. I'm going to say...
That's been West Ham have been scoring a lot of goals recently. They've just been giving up goals. I think this will be an exciting game.
I think our defense is really good, but I do think that they break through. I'm saying we win, though, 2-1.
See, I'm saying that this is an exciting game of football. And because I didn't go 2-2 for Arsenal and Everton, ended up going 2-1 for Arsenal. I'm going to go 2-2 for this game. Let's say it ends in a draw. I think West Ham kind of need to win this game because Chelsea do have a game in hand. So they kind of need to win, but not losing would be all right for them as well. Because actually, if you look at the run-in for the rest of the season, West Ham's run-in besides this Chelsea game is actually really easy. And so if they can get out of here with a draw, they'll be sitting in a really good position to try and put on a run between now and the end of the season to get into that top four. And so I think West Ham, they might do what they've been doing. They might go up 2-0 and then Chelsea come back and draw it 2-2. But I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in the end.
Is it hammer time?
It may be.
Go ahead, Sling. Let's hear it. Let's hear your little dumbass pick.
I'm thinking this is going to be a very, very, very exciting 0-0 draw.
Wow.
Are you actually going for that?
I am. I feel like this is going to be back and forth.
You never know.
I don't know. I'm going to go 0-0 draw.
All right. Analytics would tell you you're a fucking moron, but sometimes analytics don't work.
Analytics said that Brighton would be in fourth place right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Analytics say Arsenal should be a fucking top four squad,
and we all know that's not true.
We also all know that Jake is a bitch. That's
analytics proved that right.
All right. Anyways, on to the last game from the Premier League this weekend. It's Manchester United. They travel to Leeds United, the Battle of the Uniteds. Yeah, you know what? I think United's run at challenging City for the title officially comes to an end in this game. I'm going for another draw. I'm going for a 1-1 draw in this game.
Oh, shit.
You're a draw merchant.
You see,
sometimes you're just feeling it.
I'm not picking a draw, and I'm saying that Man United's chase for Man City is still on. I say Man United wins this game 2-0.
What you got, Sling?
I'm gonna go 2-1. 2-1 United.
I was thinking about it, but I was like, nah.
It's going to be real sad when I extend my lead after they draw, after both of y'all pick to win.
Suck a fucking peen.
Sling, you smell that?
Smell like facts.
It smells like bullshit. That too. It smells like bitch and bullshit.
Bitch and bullshit.
Bitch and bullshit.
All right, last game of the weekend for the Big Six. It's not a Premier League game. It is the Carabao Cup Final, the EFL League Cup Final. Manchester City, they play Tottenham Hotspur at the Wembley Stadium.
I got Spurs by 7.
Yeah, I don't know. You might have a mental illness, but
you might as well just not show.
I'm going straight up. Manchester City are not going to lose another game at Wembley back-to-back weeks. They are going to win this game, and Spurs will once again go trophyless another season. Manchester City, for me, gets the 3-1 W.
Yeah, I don't see Spurs.
And our guy Zach Steffen gets no. You know what? No. 2-0. Our guy Zach Steffen gets the clean sheet.
Clean sheet.
I'm gonna be pissed when they win 3-1.
Yeah, no. As much as I love Steffen, I don't see a clean sheet happening. I'm gonna say, but I will say City wins. I'm gonna say 3-1.
I'm gonna be triggered.
I'm gonna say 3-0. Clean sheet and 3 goals for City.
I would love it to see Spurs just get annihilated 3-0.
It's a cup final, and
I can see that. Yes, Man City losing last week or this past week to Chelsea, play a little pissed off and just fucking smash Spurs. That'd be beautiful. All right, that wraps up the Premier League talk for this week. Wraps up our preview as we are getting near to the end of the pod. Thanks everyone for still holding on with us. But before we get out of here, we got to give our winners and losers of the week. Lots of stuff going on and off the pitch in the Premier League. In football in general. My winners this week are. I'm gonna stick it to the Premier League. I'm gonna give my winners are. I think they might have been my winners last week too, but I'm sticking to it. I have criticized Newcastle on this podcast, but hey, they're doing the damn thing. They got a big win over West Ham. They're almost looking set, not for sure, but they're getting there. They're looking safe from relegation at this point in time. And the reason they're going to become my winner is because our boy Joe Willock got the game-winning goal for him as well. So they are my winner this week. Big win. I think they're now 7 points clear of that relegation zone. So Newcastle are my winners for this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one. I'm going to go with Manchester United, actually, is my winner of this week because their chase is actually getting closer with Man City. And based off of my pick, I think that it's going to be even closer with them getting another 3 points. I think it could. There's a chance that it could come down to the wire, and I fucking am
that
here
chance
for
is
it.
like 0.001,
but it's still possible. I am here for it. I would like
City
to see
win
there be just a little bit.
City wrap up the Premier League, by the way, by the end of this month.
I don't know, man. We'll
or
see.
the very beginning. Of this
But they're definitely my winners, man. They're on a fucking unreal form right now. It's looking good for them.
Sling, who you got as your winner this week?
Yeah.
Strap for whooping your ass, or
is that a big a movie?
That's actually a massive movie. I bet you everybody listening to this podcast right now is actually just dying laughing.
Weeping. A big winner, I gotta agree with Jake. I'll say Manchester United. I mean, anytime you can win in a European Cup and in the Premier League, it's a pretty good week. So I'll roll with them.
What you got for your loser this week?
The big loser is Jose.
Jose, no way, Jose.
No way, Jose. Jose Cuervo, don't matter. You're gone. So it's my big loser.
Yeah, I'm gonna double that. My big loser is Jose Mourinho. The man got sacked, fucking nut sacked, teabagged in the face. Get the fuck out of our club. By our Tottenham, not my club. Fuck him.
Hell yeah, that was a little suspect right there.
Yeah.
You just can't even say even though you're not referring to yourself, you can't say our or we when it comes to Spurs.
Their club, Spurs. Yeah. Oh, hey, by the way, fuck Spurs.
Fuck Spurs. We almost didn't get that in. We would have been losers this week if we didn't get that shit in. My loser this week is the game of football. No, I was not being dramatic like that. My loser this week is who is my loser this week?
Lacazette's hammy.
That shit.
Oh,
low key. I don't want to pile on that. But should we just make it a trifecta? Because I don't really like Mourinho either.
Okay, fuck Spurs, yeah.
My loser is not only Jose Mourinho, but it's also Spurs just in general. Because, like I said, Jose Mourinho has won a trophy at every single club he's been at for the past 20 years. And who breaks that streak? No other than the Tottenham Hotspur. You know, you never cease to amaze me how shit you can be. And the fact that you're in this Super League it's supposed to be big clubs.
Yeah, that's shocking.
I don't really know how you got in that because, you know, as an Arsenal fan, I understand we've been pretty shit the last few seasons. And based on our performance, probably don't deserve to be in the Super League. But based on our status as a big club, we do. Spurs, you've been shit and you have no history. You're not a big club, even though you're technically a part of the Big Six. So, yeah, you're my losers. Fuck you. Fuck Spurs.
Fuck Spurs.
All right, that's coming to the end of our podcast this week. Before we get out of here, like we do our winners and losers every week, we got to tell the people what we learned. I'm going to go ahead and tell the people that I found out over the last 24 hours or so that the sport of football is just done. It just ceased to exist. The Super League is just the worst thing to happen to this planet since the World Wars. It's worse than world hunger. It's just an awful thing. The sky is falling. Doom is coming. And yeah, so football is officially over. 2021 was the end of the game, the beautiful game.
Sling, I'll let you go ahead if you have yours.
You don't even know.
I don't.
I learned that strep will fucking take you out.
I've never had strep take me out like that. I think you're like low-key a bitch, for being real.
I literally haven't had strep.
It'll whoop your ass for like a couple days, but like you've had strep for like over a week now.
Well, I didn't know I had strep. I was just going to let it pass, and then it started getting really bad, and I was like, maybe I should go in.
Yeah, maybe you should have done it earlier.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't had strep since I was like 10, so I didn't even know what the fuck.
Yeah, neither have I. I feel like that's actually kind of true. Like when I think of strep, like do adults actually get that shit? Like I don't know if adults actually getting strep throat.
Last time I got strep, I think I was in high school.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was like in middle school. So yeah, Sling is breaking the mold. The first adult in history to get strep throat.
I'm just an adult child.
You're just breaking records out here.
As usual.
Fuck, man. I don't even know. Did I learn a single goddamn thing this week?
Are you a fucking potato? How do you know?
I mean, you learned that the Super League is a thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you picked that, so I didn't want to be like, yeah, I also learned that football is dead. But I think I might have to go with that.
Jake didn't learn anything this week.
Yeah, I guess.
He's not a student of the game.
Like a fucking koala bear.
He's not a student of life.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna have to go with the fucking Super League is killing football. That's what I learned. Apparently through all social media platforms, through UEFA, FIFA, you name it. I mean, football's dead.
It's just over with. Football's done, bruv.
It's done, bruv, and nothing.
All right, we will be back next week with we're going to continue to update y'all on the Super League situation as we learn more about it. We'll talk each week about certain updates as well as our usual Big Six talk. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Appreciate our new listeners that are tuning in for the first time. Appreciate our concurrent viewers. I don't know how you're still here in the 13th week, but you're a G. You're a G for that. We'll be back next week, same day, same time. Evening releases here on Mondays in the States. Very early morning Tuesday releases over in Europe and your other areas. Listen to it on your way to work. As we always say, listen to it while you're in the shower, while you're taking a shit, while you're getting it on, while you're working out. Listen to it whenever. That's a beautiful thing about podcasts.
Hey.
Stick some headphones on and you can listen to it whenever.
Pod stays on during sex.
Facts.
That's true. We did tweet that from our account, which, by the way, follow us on Clueless Yanks Twitter. I'm just kind of talking about the Super League last night. I want to interact with y'all, see y'all, get y'all's opinions on it. We are on social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all at Clueless Yanks. You'll find us. You'll find us on all kinds of podcast platforms as well. Just look up Clueless Yanks, and we will be there. Thanks for everybody tuning in this week, and we will catch you all next week.
Adios, muchachos.
Sayonara.
Take it easy, everyone.